160 thousandths. So I'm going to turn that on the ends, I'll turn down to that dimension so it has a nice match, a nice blend into the into the curve of this piece and of the other end. I can't think of the word. What do you call it? These parts have a
top and bottom.
Yeah, top and bottom.
There you go.
So what I do is part of the reason I got in trouble on some of these kits, like this Eagle one, that here I'll pass this around if you want to see what an error looks like, is that I tried to. It's just a challenge. I wanted to make it straight across like this here, from here to end to end. But I think it is now that when I look at those pieces, it's better to have a slight curve, and that'll help your problem with if you have a void under there. You want to pass that? Sure. Now the other thing though is that what I think has been a great development is that they've come out with the Wall Street 3, and that solves a whole bunch of problems, even if you have a pretty considerable void between your tubes, because it's a 30 larger in diameter. This piece I just showed you is 30 larger, so you're starting. You don't have to take near as much off, and that really. If you've got it filled with epoxy, like a 2-part epoxy, pretty well solves that problem. So it's just a matter now, but this is a Wall Street 2 kit, so I'm going to what I'll normally do is take a scraper, just a skew on edge works fine, and just kind of make it so it's nice and uniform. Okay. I'm not going to go through all that, but what I'll do next, and this is just to illustrate, it's not refined in shape, but I want to just continue on, is I'll take, this wood sands nicely. I'll take this is my technique, you can do what you want, but I start with 220 grit, and I'll just sand it down, like this here. And I'll go to 320. And I'll take this, you can do this in different order that you want to, but now I take CA glue again, when it's just about to the final dimension, and I'll measure it with the vernier caliper, and if it is a couple thousandths or, in that area larger, then I'll put thin CA glue. I'll just take and wipe it on like this here, and it's just, in my mind, just insurance to make sure that everything is adhering and that there's no gaps, there are problems. That's just my thing to do. So then I'll take the 320, 400, and then I use, so I'll just go from, no, if you ask Peter, he thinks I really overkill on something like this. I go 500, 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, and it looks like a mirror when you're done. And I think that makes for a good service. And I also use the Tripoli. This is great stuff, I think. I use this a lot for finishing stuff. I'll do this as the last step, and it just, if you, really makes it smooth, really shines. And then, but the other thing is you can use any number of finishes, but you could use oil or wax, but it won't, you got to keep redoing it if you want it to look decent, and it's not resistant to the use that you give a pen. So oil or wax, I don't think it might look really nice for a while, but it just won't last for something that fits in, and then you thread the mating part onto
a mating part.
Yeah. That's the way they have to do this kit.
So you're pressing like a retainer type.
Yeah, with that is threaded.
It's threaded, and then the tip goes into the, and screws into that, okay.
When you have the light colored wood mixed with the wood that's dyed and you're sanding it, do you ever get the color bleeding?
No, I don't. They've got a very good system of dyes because they don't. No, they just don't. I've never had that happen. And I think it's a very attractive design, but they haven't. You know, between the different suppliers, you could probably get, I don't know, close to 30 different individual designs.
What does kit cost?
Well, these are close to 20 bucks,
Just the wood.
Plus the pen, right?
plus the pen. Yeah, so you can, depending on the complexity of the wood parts that they have to make, prepare, the price will vary within a range of plus or minus a couple dollars from 15.